flight, but not too bad, an hour and a half. So all in all, it's a pretty good ferry service. Now the population of Waiheke is around about 8,500. Of that 8,500, approximately 1,000 people a day commute into Auckland to go to work. So all of this car parking you can see here and up the sides of the roads till we get to Oniroa is people that have either gone to town or working in town. So it's quite a high percentage of people that actually work in town. But I mean, if you know anything about Auckland traffic, then 35 minutes on a ferry is quite doable compared to a long time on a motorway. Less than a ferry, you get to drink wine and talk to people and read the paper. Or in a lot of people's cases, have breakfast because they're running so late. So anyway, and so the sort of geography of the island is it's 26 kilometres long as the crow flies to between half a kilometre and 10 kilometres wide. It's different from Auckland in that we only get 2/3 of Auckland's rainfall, and we're on average 2 to 3 degrees warmer. So it's got its own little microclimate. Like quite often you could actually be standing there watching it absolutely hosing down in town, and we're drying in the sun. It's quite unique like that. Also the soil has got quite a high manganese and iron content, which I think translates to meaning it's crap, which apparently is really good. Which apparently is really good for growing grapes and olives. Apparently they like that kind of soil. Originally there was 3 original vineyards on the island. There was one in about the 1930s by 2 Yugoslav brothers, and they had a bit of a falling out, so that was the end of that one. Then in the 70s there were 3 vineyards planted. One of them was, the first one was Goldwater, the second one was Stony Ridge, and the third one was Peninsula. So they were the first ones to discover that basically the climate on Waiheke was very similar to that of Bordeaux. So hence the beginning of Waiheke's wine industry. Now what we're coming into now is Oniroa, which is kind of like our main village. We've got things like, you know, that's got community artworks, a little musical museum, and it's got a community theatre. It's owned by the community, and it's the seats in it are all second-hand couches. So basically, first in gets the best couch, really. Some are better than others, but you can actually like take your dinner in there and drink wine in there. It's quite cool. It's quite different. So we've got, this is where all of our banks are, and we've got more real estate agents than banks actually, which is a little scary. But it's also got all the little retail shops and the arty shops and things like that. Down there on my left is Oniroa Beach. So so the geography of the island is that actually where Martitia is the western end of the island, and the bottom end is the eastern end of the island. So the island lies like that. So it has a north side. So that's Oniroa Bay, which you can see is quite sandy, and it faces out to the Hauraki Gulf. And we have a south side, which has got, you know, the tide goes out a long way. It's a bit muddier. It's a bit rockier. Sort of, you know, almost like. So you've got the two difference in the 2 types of beaches. To my right, you can just see through to Blackpool Beach there. So this is the narrowest part of the island. It's half a kilometre between Oniroa Beach and Blackpool Beach. Now I forgot to tell you, this bus is a little temperamental, and at some stage of the day I will probably embarrass myself severely and miss a gear because it's got one of those really cool gearboxes you don't quite know where you are, but I'm just warning you. Now what you can see over there on that side, that's Maraetai, so that's as far south as we are. So you see Whitford, Maraetai, you can go across into Pine Harbour that way too. On my left we're coming down to Little Oniroa. This beach is separated from Big Oniroa by this little hilly, cliffy bit. So you can actually walk around it at low tide. It's quite easy to walk around. At high tide it requires you to scramble up a bank, which from experience is not entirely pretty. I don't recommend it. Unless you've got goat-like tendencies. So as you can see, this is really popular in summer because it's safe. The kids can see it, and it's got play areas, and most of our beaches have actually got barbecues provided by the council. They're all free. You just push a button and it lights up, so it's quite cool. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take you for a little bit of a quick tiki tour along the north side so you can have a quick look before we head to Stony Ridge. Now I forgot to do the we're going to Stony Ridge for lunch, and then you have some wine tastings there. Then we're going to go to Rangahau, which is the olive oil place. And then after that, we're going to go back to Wild on Waiheke, which is a brewery as well as a vineyard. And it's the only brewery on the island. And then we finish off at the Mudbrick before we take you down to the 4 o'clock ferry. You don't have to get on the 4 o'clock ferry, but for those that do, this is the bit where I go really. Please. That corner kills me. I have to be going faster than second gear if anything else, and it just turns to brown smelly stuff hitting a big whirly thing. Right now, and if you have a look across here, I'm going to find a good place to stop. The trees have grown up along here, which is really just so terrible. But you can start seeing down into the Arizona Bay. You can see it's actually quite a big bay, and on the other side of that peninsula out there is actually Peninsula Vineyard. So that was the third one. So that's Oniroa Bay, and there you can see it's in a huge horseshoe, and across there on that end point is Peninsula Vineyard. So that was one of the first three, the three of the three. But you can, because of the topography of the island, we've actually got over 100 kilometres of coastline just because it goes in and out like this.
Is it real estate expensive?
Yes. Okay, the median house price is about $430. So you can get like batches for 200,000, and then you can sort of get average houses that are only 2-bedroom for 400,000, and then after that it's sky's your limit.
But most with a really good view.
Some, because the island is also really, really hilly. So you kind of get bush or sea. But the sea views are the more expensive. And because this is the north side, which is our sunny side, it's the most expensive. Now I'm going to go stop at a place further around where you can have I'll let you get out and have a photo. It's just because this is considered the more desirable side of the island to live in because it's north facing. But I mean, places like that don't actually get much sea view. But they're in, they get a sea view back, but they're actually facing south. Now there's some, you can see that bay over there is Sandy Bay, that's where you can actually launch boats. But there's this little bay down here called Hikarua Bay, you can just see it's a bit stony. The only way you can get down to that is walking down a supposed road, and it's a zigzag track from hell. As you can see from the land, it is really, really steep. Bringing the rubbish up must be an absolute drama. I've been wanting a 4-wheel drive quad bike myself. The other unique thing about Waiheke too is we don't have possums, and also it's called the island's always been a bit sort of hippie alternative, and so a bit of a green bend, and so you weren't allowed to cut natives down over 2 metres high, and with no possums you can see that the island's actually quite bushy. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a look back. The island, when you were coming in, it's really hard to see this island. You have to be in looking the right way. You can see that big island there behind, sort of almost behind us? That's Rakino Island. And it's got no power, no phone, and it's not big enough to be, it's all basically lifestyle blocks, but I mean there's no power, so it's all generated, no phone lines. And if you can see that one, you can just, these two little ones are the noises, and the one behind that's Tiritiri Matinga, which is owned by the Department of Conservation, and that's got that's been reforested, and it's got had all of the pests got rid of, and it's got all of the New Zealand native plants and birds. I have to hurry up because there's a service bus behind me. They're not going to love me if I slow down. And so the little islands that you can see there are called the noises. And so the Tiritiri, we're going to go further along here and you can have a better look. So yeah, it's quite special not to have possums in New Zealand on this island. I think it had a few and they eradicated them, and because it's so far from the mainland they don't swim over. They have been known on the odd occasion, but we do actually have stoats, which is quite... Stoats, yeah. Okay, if you look down into this little valley here, just past these trees, this is the only legal nudist beach in New Zealand, down here. And if you wait 5 minutes, I'll run down and clear it for you. Scare the crap out of everyone. Sometimes even they have been called dog. Ah, splendid whale, splendid whale. Right, so now I'll give you a quick... Okay, so down in here is Palm Beach. That's, and the little one over there is Bone Sheep Bay. That had 6 acres with it, and about 2 years ago it sold for 16 million. That point over there, the next peninsula over, is the northeasterly corner of Waiheke. It's got Man of War Bay, which is the biggest vineyard on the island. It's 400 acres, and it's doesn't have a cellar door, but they do a lot of stuff for the rest of the island. You can just see sort of the shadow of land over there because it's raining over in Coromandel at the moment. So that's the Coromandel Peninsula or the Morihau Range. What you can't see because it's raining is Great Barrier and Little Barrier. But if you go past there, basically the next place you hit is Chile. If you want to get out and have a quick photo.
Chile, South America.
Yeah. That's the one I meant. So if you have a quick photo, but if we only got a couple of minutes.
You go.
Because then Stony Ridge gets upset if we're too late.
You live here?
I do. I do live here.
Beautiful. Like that view?